Hello there. I'm Dave Myers, and you're listening to Verse by Verse. Heads up! Have you ever heard that warning shouted out to you? Now, maybe it was a warning that you heard at a basketball game, that a basketball had been launched and was on course to connect with your skull. Or maybe it was a baseball game where a hot dog eating fan who was not paying particularly close attention to the game almost gets beamed by an errant foul ball. They might hear, "Heads up," just before the ball crashes down next to them. It's always ironic to me that when someone yells, "Heads up," what they really mean is get your head down. Protect that valuable noggin. So, which is it? Heads up or heads down? And what does that have to do with our verses today, which, by the way, are Psalm 5, verses 1 through 3. In verse 3 of this psalm, David states that he, every morning, is going to pray and look up to God for the help that only God provides. He states, "My voice," David says, "you shall hear in the morning, O Lord. In the morning I will direct it to you, and I will look up." We see that it's an important habit to pray to God every morning and look up to Him for our needs and for our help. Starting our day in prayer is a vital connection to God and puts our life and all its worries in their proper context. We acknowledge that God is above us and over us, that He can care for us in every way. When we look up to Him, we show our honor and our respect for Him. Of course, when we look up to God and see Him for who He is and what He is, we will also recognize what we are not. We are weak, sometimes sinful beings made out of the dust. So when we look up, we instinctively bow down. When comparing ourselves to God, our reflex and then our desire is to bow before that great God in humility and respect. Recognizing who He was and seeing who God is, David asks God to please listen to his prayers. He says in Psalm 5, verse 1, "Give ear to my words, O Lord. Consider my meditation." In other words, I know that you, God, are a being of greatness, far superior to me. But would you please listen to my words and my thoughts, my concerns? Prayer is sharing our words and our thoughts, our needs, our groanings with our Father in heaven. It is not repeating some memorized prayer that we might have learned in childhood. But David doesn't ask God just to listen. He goes on to ask, "Give heed to the voice of my cry, my King and my God, for to you I will pray." In other words, David says, please listen, God. Please act on my behalf. I recognize who I am, nothing, and who you are, everything. Please be gracious toward me and help. That was David's prayer, and that can be your prayer. Heads up. See who God is for what He is, and in response, head down in prayerful dedication to Him.
Verse by Verse is a Life, Hope, and Truth podcast. Check out the show notes to find more free content, like videos, articles, and booklets in our Learning Center.